So, hello, viewer. Today I'm talking to Garry from the Kabin Studio. So, for those who don't know what it is, could you explain the Kabin and what you guys do?
So the Cabin is a youth music space in Cork, and we basically help young people to express themselves through music, through songwriting, through rap, and through other forms of like digital media and just creativity and art in general. So it's at its core, it's kind of about hip hop and rap, but it's nowadays it's a lot more than that. So we work with a lot of young people, kids, teenagers, and even adults to help them to write songs and just to encourage them to be creative and express themselves.
I see. So, you yourself obviously are massive into music, with working with such an incredible, just helping young people is an incredible thing to do. Here at Music Generation, which is trying to make music accessible to all young people. So, you guys are doing a brilliant job. But growing up, what kind of people or what bands did you first start listening to that got yourself into music?
Um, Definitely the Beastie Boys. Have you ever heard of the Beastie Boys?
I love the Beastie Boys.
Do you
Yes.
love the Beastie Boys? Put
Yes.
it there.
I've
Oh,
done an
class.
album review on Check Your Head on my
Really?
podcast. Yeah,
That is class. Check Your Head is a brilliant album. That's
really,
cool.
really
Not
good.
Yeah, Beastie Boys are old school now, right?
Yeah.
But that's what got me hooked on rap and hip hop. When I first heard, it was actually when I first heard the beats that they were using and just how they sounded as opposed to the lyrics. That's what got me hooked on hip hop and rap. And from that, then I got interested in like other groups like Gangstar, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
So, how do you use your Beastie Boys nearly influence or inspiration, you could say, today when you're making music with these young people?
Very good question. How do I use their influence? I think, I think the thing about the Beastie Boys, how they delivered their lyrics, there was a lot of character in their voices. There was a lot of tone in their voices, and I always encourage people to try that when they're rapping, just to kind of push the boundaries of their voice and of their tone, and to utilize their accent as much as possible, and almost be like actors when they're rapping. So I kind of that's what I really loved about how the Beastie Boys performed, the different tone of their voice, but also their beats and their production. I was very heavily influenced by the Beastie Boys and how they just cut things up and chop beats together, and just mashed live instruments with samples and stuff. So yeah.
I was listening to you here before we started the interview, and I heard you even speaking to people about what kind of vocals there should be.
Yeah.
It's a really good collaborative project, but even hearing you there utilizing your accent, for younger people out there who want to rap or they like to sing or they just want to get that out there on the music scene and just start blasting their voice into a microphone, what kind of tips would you use apart from utilizing your accent?
um I would say just be yourself. I would say, like, if you're looking for things to write about, just write about the things that genuinely interest you. You don't have to copy what you hear or what you're listening to on the radio or what you're listening to on YouTube or Spotify. You can be influenced by it, but if you're looking for things to talk about things that are relevant to you at your age, because you're only going to be that age for a certain amount of time. So focus your energy on that, expressing yourself about how you feel, and what you're interested in at that age. And yeah, just to try different things creatively. Listen to loads of different music. Don't just say, oh, I'm only going to listen to this one style of rap and I'm going to just try this style of rap. Open your ears and your eyes to different forms of music and creativity, and just enjoy it. That's the main thing. Enjoy it, and try and find other people as well, other musicians and people who might have a similar interest, and you can work together, because I think that makes the process even more fun and more rewarding when you can collaborate.
I see. And now, like working with the cabin and making all this great music, is there anything that you're listening to at the moment that maybe is influencing your tone when you're working with these young people?
What am I listening to at the moment? That's a very good question again. I have a very varied kind of playlist. I guess I try to kind of listen to as many kind of new genres of rap and hip hop as much as I can. If there's a new kind of, I don't know, for example, we were using a Jersey club type beat there a while ago. That is kind of a relatively new style of hip hop and rap. So I tried to, I don't know, bring in current styles into it, but also try and mash them up with different styles and with live instruments, and yeah, just that's kind of what I, or even sometimes I might hear an old song, like an old like dance song or a rave track or something, and then sample like 4 bars from that, and then just put a new beat over it, and bring that into the workshop then and see if people want to work on it.
That's really interesting. And so you've worked with a lot of people today and done a lot of things. So when you're creating this music with different people, with the lyricism especially, do you get a very similar kind of sound from different people? Do you get similar lyrics sometimes? Or is it always very different when people come into the cabin?
I think it's very different. Everyone's voice is very different. Everyone's voice is unique. So you kind of, you help them to write lyrics and to perform in a way that suits their personality, that suits their energy as well. So I think you kind of, but you can also push them outside their boundaries a little bit, just to see, are they capable of trying something completely different, you know, to push them out of their comfort zone a little bit. But yeah, it's very, very varied. But I think the thing about rap and hip hop, it's a lot of the stuff that people write can be very personal and very true to themselves. So I think rap and hip hop and just writing and poetry in general is a great way for people really to tell their own story and to share their own voice with the world, you know?
I completely agree. And for my final question, you've been speaking a lot about what kind of things you do at the cabin, but do you have a favourite element or perhaps thing or process that you do in the cabin?
Favorite element or process that I do in the cabin. I don't know. There's a load of things that I love doing in the cabin. Like I obviously love recording and producing beats and stuff like that. But I love just getting them doing warm ups and just sometimes making them feel a little bit silly before a workshop and just getting them roaring and shouting and jumping around the place, and you know, everyone just having a bit of crack. I think that's a good way just to make people feel a little bit silly but a bit at ease before they get down to be creative, you know.
That is brilliant, and you've expressed a very creative outlook throughout this whole interview. So I'm gonna thank you so much, Gary, for joining me for this
Thank you.
interview. And I've learned a lot about the cabin because I only discovered about the cabin in the last couple of weeks, and it has been incredible to learn all about it, especially today in the flesh, to see what true power music has, especially in the cabin studio.
Nice
Thanks
one.
so much, Gary.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
lovely
They were
day.
brilliant questions. Thank you. Nice one.